Welcome, Rachel Minion, to the Durable Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you.
I'm equally excited, if not more. So you have an amazing entrepreneurial path that you've been on, and it's very inspirational in a lot of ways. So, but yeah, let's just start out by just be going back to right before you founded Rockstarr and Moon. You had what seems like it was a pretty cool job at Ticketmaster. And I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit about that actual job, but also like what you did there, if there were any things that you were doing in that role that you carried forward as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So one of the cool things is I had Rockstar Moon as a side hustle. It's been on the side for 10 years by the time I got my dream job at Ticketmaster.
Mm.
I'm a girl who loves live music. If you can't see the background right now, let me tell you, I have signed guitars everywhere.
Yes, it's very cool.
And like it's just who I am, right? It helps us connect. I think there's some passion in live music that there's an energy of a crowd that just happens when you're all together loving the same band, loving that same little piece of music. And there's just nothing better.
Great.
So I landed this dream job. I kept the side hustle on the side. And my first week, I started working in product marketing for a division of Ticketmaster. And by the second week, I was not only running product marketing, I was then B2B marketing, B2C marketing, B2B2C. I was helping on emails and websites and all of those things. Definitely not the job I signed up for, but it's who I am. So let's go. There's nothing we can't do, right?
Great.
So it became a job that I didn't necessarily interview to do all of this, but it's in my skill set. Let's go ahead and keep figuring out how do we move the ball at all times forward when there's a big breadth of expectations and things that just had to get done. And it was a small team. It started off just me. And then we grew one other person under me as we're, being able to advance the business. And I think the biggest lesson for me is I hate to say this, but like, I don't like to work for the man.
Mm.
There's a lot
Mm.
of layers of like corporation type stakeholders that are
Yes.
throughout this org, right? And it's really cool when you're on the small side because you can just move quick, you can be nimble, and you can adjust. You can learn, okay, the data shows that this didn't work. Let's pivot and do this. So
100%.
I had grown and been able to help this division. We grew, I believe it was about 2 million tickets on the system, which is awesome, right? For the small platform. And then I went to the corporate side of the world and thinking I could move and pivot in the same way. And
Oh.
no,
Mm.
I'd create a piece of content and it would be out there for 3.5 months waiting to just be reviewed. And by then, the opportunity passes, right? And I think that was my biggest learning in the difference between the corporate world and the entrepreneurial world that I want to live in.
That's really interesting. So even though it was your dream job, you still had to deal with the reality of kind of the corporate structure.
That's it. And, you think Ticketmaster, it's all against the man, but you end up, you're working for the man. It's so
Mhm.
confusing.
Mhm, mhm. So, you have any good, like, backstage or celebrity perk stories, that you can share with us?
I could share with you a little bit of a fun story.
Mhm.
So, I, about 11 years ago, was diagnosed with cancer. So,
Mm.
my journey has been a little bit different than most. And with that, it made it really almost impossible to get pregnant. So, at Ticketmaster, I was able to, because they have great health insurance, I started my IVF journey. And the first round didn't take. So second round, they say they're much more successful. They know how my body's going to react to hormones and all of these pieces. So we thought we would do the right thing, meaning we know that shows are my life. So let's keep that as part of what we were doing. So we went to Chicago open air and we were VIP and my husband's giving me the shot in the car
Oh,
before we
really?
walked into the stadium, right? But I thought I should take it a step further. Lollapalooza was coming up, and that was the day before the implant. And I looked at the schedule. Jane's Addiction was playing. Now,
Uh-oh, I can feel the enthusiasm.
I firmly believe that anybody who goes backstage at Jane's Addiction concerts,
Mhm.
that they get pregnant. It
No.
doesn't matter, male or female. Like it's just it's how it works. It is just an energy that lives there, right? And especially with all the backstage stories and things that I was aware of. So I was like, all right, that's what we're gonna do. So the team helped me secure backstage access for
Really?
Jane's Addiction during Lollapalooza. I am up in the
Wow.
rafters.
Really?
And it's the coolest moment because out come Jane's Addiction, and we're watching them from above, and then out come the group of dancers, and then out come um, the acrobatic ladies. They were lifted from the stage, and they have been training for this for quite a while because what we thought was that they were wearing harnesses and then swinging back and forth across the stage, but it was not actually that. They had the wires in the hooks of their back, and that they had
Oh,
it
really?
just went through the skin in their back, and I believe there was, some apparatus or something,
Whoa.
and we are, like, right there watching this.
Wow.
It was the craziest experience,
Whew.
and right now we're up in the rafters, and the rafters are swaying back and forth like this, and then they're swinging the other way, right? And we're really close to them, and
That's
we're getting
incredible.
firsthand experience as to, like, I didn't even realize that that was a job.
Oh my gosh, right, who knew yeah, who know? Jeez,
I I
that's
mean,
incredible.
they never told me you could do that in middle school.
Yeah, right. Uh,
Career day did not
yeah,
involve.
what experience. So, um, thanks for sharing that story. So you had a sudden disruption there, um, at Ticketmaster. Sounds like you were obviously already leaning toward entrepreneurial life, that you knew that's where your heart was and where you felt like you were fitting. But what happened there that took Rockstar and Moon from side hustle to very, very, lucrative full-time gig?
You know, I was thinking at some point in time, do I need a side hustle? What do I do? I had my dream job, and yes, there was all the bureaucracy and it was hard to cut through with stakeholders. But my first year, I saw 275 different artists.
Wow.
As a girl who loves live music, like that's something to say. And my next year was like 250. We didn't get the 275, but
Jeez.
we were close.
Wow.
And yeah, the perks were amazing. The benefits were amazing. The things that I could do were amazing. And access was everything to me. So it was a hard decision, right? And I'm about to shut down the side hustle because my clients wanted more and more and more. And I've had them for a decade. But I didn't want to let them down, but I want to help grow their business. But I'm traveling back and forth to LA to Chicago and then up to San Francisco and back to home to Chicago and New
Busy.
York.
You were so busy.
It was terrible. And then the pandemic hit. And that was the biggest blessing I could ever imagine. I Our first couple weeks we were able to meet Pharrell on a town hall. And then we met Garth Brooks, which beyond words amazing.
Mm,
And then we get on a Zoom call and 80% of our team was furloughed on the spot.
jeez.
And it was a moment, right? And every person that I knew, we're all messaging back and forth. How are you? Are you okay? Which call are you on? The call where you're staying or where you're going? And once we figured all of that out, my teammates freaked. And that was the first time that I had the moment to realize, you know what? I have been built for this. I have been building for this. My clients wanted more of me. So let's just do it. Let's go ahead and go full time today. I let every one of my clients know all the projects I put on the back burner, the additional websites, the additional this, the additional that. Let's do it. And let's do it today.
In hindsight, it seems like you had it teed up perfectly because of everything that you had done, and now you just were able to put on your foot on the accelerator. But let's talk a little bit about Rockstar Moon. And I know I'm gonna read from your website here is that your unwavering mission is to double the size of 100 small businesses by the end of 2029 so that these ambitious business owners can create a lasting impact on their clients, communities, and families. So, can you provide us a little insight into how you do that?
Absolutely. So, most mission statements feel lofty and they're not rooted in why you really do what you do. And I am the biggest champion for small businesses. I will help anyone and everything that we can because they are the lifeblood of our community. It's the world that I came from. It's the world that I know make the rest better because they go and invest in Little League, right? They invest in the
Mhm.
Girl Scouts. They invest in all those different things that keep our communities together. And so we really try to put together the right programming and the right things so that we can help our clients grow. And how do we do that? It's not just marketing, it's business, it's operations, it's those pieces of marketing, it's sales training and all of those things into a package. And we had been doing this for our clients as a done for you service for the last 5 years. And while that's wonderful, and we've got them some really incredible results, including like helping one of our clients right after we launched sell as much in one quarter as they did the entire year before.
Really?
Unbelievable, right? And
Yes.
so we
Yes.
know we can do it. We have the proof of it, but most of our clients and the prospects talking to us want more. They wanted to be able to learn how to do it themselves
Mm,
because how do you get the right scalable, repeatable process? So then you can have teams focusing on more strategic and moving forward and bringing that to a solid foundation that you can continue to build on. And
yeah.
you have the fundamentals ready to roll in place so you can bring on that next product or service. You can bring on that next team member and you already have the playbooks ready to roll.
So how do you work with your clients then? Just
We
being more specific. I just want to make sure everybody understands exactly what your service is.
Thanks. I moved from the done for you model to a done with you model.
Mm,
We have a 12-week intensive and then for the rest of the year we have accountability, we have other trainings and things that we're going to do with you so that in this 1 year program, not only are you getting the results that should pay for the program within the first 90 days,
mm,
but now you're going to see those results and continue to optimize on them. So we're going to be looking at that data with you. We're going to be implementing, we're going to be helping you guide you throughout that entire path so you
mm,
can get the same results that our done for you clients have received.
mm. So would your clients come to you with like a specific business goal, or it could be like a number goal, or it could be a product launch? And if somebody did come to you with, here's my specific objective, how would you kind of start working with them from sort of your discovery to the execution of your partnership?
So we like to understand where everybody's coming from first and do you have past success? So if you're trying to figure out is this product market fit, what we do right now, that's not for you, but we can help you in different ways. This program is for consultants who have really had great success with their clients, but they feel stuck. It feels like a job. You are working your tail off, right? And you're not seeing the return on it. And then you have this weird hustle cycle where you're hustling and you're grinding and you're trying to get those new clients and then you start getting the calls but then you move to where you're just working on deliverables
Mm,
and so all that hustle that you did from the beginning is gone and then it's like oh god what do I do? I finished the client deliverables and now we got to hustle to get the people back in
mhm,
and it's a
mhm.
constant cycle versus actually creating the machine that does it while you're just growing your business.
Awesome. Man, that's great. That's great. So when you went, I know you did mention how you had a lot of the structure in place when you decided to go full time on Rockstar and Moon, but what did you have to do differently that allowed you to really accelerate your growth? Because it sounds like, I mean, you were in a position where like, okay, let's go, let's make this happen. And when you did that, either mindset wise or actually areas of the business that you focused on, how you focused on them, what changed when you went from side hustle to all in, let's go?
Panic. Panic took over but I think one of the coolest things that happened is a sense of I can do this. And this confidence there that not only have I been doing this for such a long time, but now I'm doing this and it's actually helping somebody immediately. It's not helping grow the man. It's not helping do any of those things. And if we can make that impact, what do we need to do? And for me, that was hustle. And for my first few years, all I did was hustle. I was working like a madman. I was anything you can do to market the business, but then get in the same type of hustle cycle that we were talking about. That's
Mhm.
where I found myself. And
Mm.
I had backed myself into a job and I didn't realize it.
Mm.
I didn't realize that I was working harder than I was at corporate, doing all those things, struggling. It's like, wait a minute. So I hired a business coach. And we had some incredible breakthroughs because what we've been able to change in me and I've been able to evolve is that I never knew that I had the ability to design the business that I wanted.
Mm.
I went to survival mode, right? You get furloughed, you go survival mode. It's like, okay, I need to do this. I need to put food on the table. Here's the things that I
Yeah.
know how to do. Just do them.
Right.
But it doesn't mean
Replacing your cash flow. That's the lens that you see everything through.
that's it. And so then if you're stuck in that lens, what do you do? And how does anybody get out of that without getting a little bit of help? So when my coach and I sat down and we saw that, and I realized this isn't the company that I ever wanted to build, it just happened. So, how do I re architect everything that I'm great at, that I love to do, and to be able to do it so I can scale more?
Jeez.
And here we are.
Wow. Yeah, and let's just say it works. So tell me about your growth in the business from side hustle to now, like in terms of just, overall revenue. How has that grown?
So, revenue at first, our first year was hard, right? Anyone will tell you your first year in business is hard, but realizing you were going from a very well high paid job to doing this on your own, paying for your own health insurance, all of those things, whew,
Yeah.
it is not for like the feeble hearted. Like if you don't have the gumption there, like it's scary. But what I saw in year 2 is that I believe it was 5 times what we did in year 1.
Really
Year
dramatic. Dramatic.
dramatic. Year 3 doubled. And then it's like, wait a minute. If we can do this and we're doing it for our clients, we're doing something right. What is that framework? How do we build this out so that it's repeatable? So we're not just in panic and survival mode. How do we even bring that thrive mode and growth mode to our clients? And that's really where the biggest changes came
Mm.
because once you realize you can get out of that and you can systematize it, it just explodes.
I know when we talked earlier, you mentioned the impact that automation had on your business in terms of just efficiency. I don't know if you can provide any insight about your strategy there.
So I had my longest time employee. She was with me for just over 3 years, put in her notice in June. And she was helping me to she was managing all the projects, she was handling the team, she was making sure everything got done the way that it needed to do. She was making this company everything that it needed to be. And all these pieces were on her plate. And when she left, I said, "Oh, how do you replace this?" I realize that every person is replaceable in this world, but I can't lose my business because an employee that's key to me leaves. So my husband challenged me. My husband is the king of tech. And he said, "Well, what if you could automate 80% of her role?" It was admin in some way, shape, or form. And I was like, okay. So the next morning, I woke up at 3 a.m. because, of course, you can't sleep once you start realizing the
Exactly.
pieces in place and you're dreaming about it.
Right, right.
So I worked from 3 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 3 weeks in a row, 7 days a week, and I fully automated her job. There is just about 10% of it that I have not automated. From how do we plan for an entire quarter at a time and sit down and just do it so that we have everything, and I even booked it out till the end of the year for every single client on what we need to do. So we knew exactly what to make, the tasks in the system, every redefining product definitions, redefining all SOPs, all of it.
Jeez. So you had to like really think. You started thinking very different about what was possible. It seemed like, and got into a mindset of like, this is a problem that I need to figure it out, and you did. But at the end of that, I would I'm guessing, were you shocked at, like, I had no idea that this was even an option for me.
I am so mad at myself that I didn't do this earlier.
Mm,
And I I didn't realize the amount that you could have an impact in your business.
mm,
So if I just cleared up, let's say 35 hours a week, now what else can I do?
yeah,
And okay, great. Now I have an email automation tech that's in my inbox. So what went from 1200 to 2500 emails a day, I'm down to maybe the top 20.
that's
I am
amazing. That's a dream.
it's a dream. I have automations for almost everything that I truly need to do that's just admin, and I'm able to then do more of the $500 an hour activities rather than the $3 an hour activities.
Mhm. Seems like it really changed the way that your business operates, and what seemed like it was a disaster that was happening to you at the time ended up probably being an accelerator for your growth.
I love challenges.
Mm,
There is something about a business challenge that is just incredible, right? And they're put in our way for a reason. It isn't because you can't get over it. You just haven't figured out the right combination of widgets to help
yes.
you get through it.
Yeah. Right, right. Yeah. That's a very entrepreneurial streak right there, right? Give me the challenge. I got this.
That's it. I
Uh,
mean, otherwise we'd be bored, right?
mhm, mhm. Very, very, very cool story the way that that worked out and the impact that it had.
Mm.
Speaking about how you're working with your clients, I know that you have a framework, really, like a big three focus strategy
Mhm.
to help with identifying priorities. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Every client that we start working with is like, I need this, I need this, I need this. We're running these things. All these things are happening. But we all know and we all recognize that we can do three things really well if they are our priorities, and we will succeed at them every time. But if you have a priority list of 1,400 things and they're all shiny objects and you're chasing them, you're never going to get results and you're never going to get predictable results. But if we pick just the top three, and if it's by quarter, that's great. If it's by month, that's okay too. But only those things and nothing else comes into the purview, then we can look to see, okay, great. We spent time on your LinkedIn outreach. We've gotten these results. Now, if we just tweak this and this, let's see how much better it can be.
Mhm.
Because even if we got a 30% lift, that's not as high as it can go. What if we got an extra 5% on top of that the next time we make the tweaks?
Got it. Got it. So it's really a process of you're just let me ask you a question. Are you typically identifying those big three focuses areas in terms of impact, or is it like what's going to be the things that we can get done the quickest, or is it really just vary based on the client situation?
I think that we need to understand the client goals first. And in most cases, the client doesn't necessarily have those goals spelled out or understand what they are.
Mm,
So we start with the goal setting process on what are you trying to achieve and by when.
okay.
And then that lays out what the big three are. So if our client needs to get more calls because their funnel is dry, what do we need to do to just get calls? Here's the three things. Let's go. Once we nail that, then we can get to the next goal. What is your next goal? Okay, so we need to have a more automated sales process. Great. We can do that.
Got it. Got it. Makes a lot of sense because every client's goals are going to be unique, right? So you're going to help them kind of deconstruct what they need to do relative to where they want to go, um, and what the priorities are there. So another thing I think that you could help our audience with is the idea of becoming an authority, a recognized authority
Mhm.
in your field to build your own credibility. So, what suggestions would you have maybe for a founder? What would you recommend to somebody to create more visibility for themselves?
You know, this crazy thing happens when you're an entrepreneur. You spend your time, effort, and energy to get your clients results. And those results are amazing, right? We celebrate them. They're great. Then we move on to the next. But nowhere have we written that case study. Nowhere have we pulled the metrics so we can go talk about them. Nowhere have we written the story of that we have done this amazing thing for some company, some group, some whatever that may be that you're working with. And talk about that. It's because that current success that you have is what's going to help you get that next client. And because we totally ignore it and we go on to the next thing because we want to make the next client just as happy, we never stop, pause, reflect, and then figure out how do we do this and communicate the heck out of it.
Yeah. So it's going back to what you were talking about earlier about this cycle of chasing the business, getting the business, meeting the deliverables, and then going back to the beginning of the cycle again. And it sounds like what you're talking about is the value really of taking the time to invest in your greatest asset, which is you.
And not only invest in it, but now this just becomes part of the process. You
Mm.
shouldn't have to think, okay, now what
Oh,
do I do?
okay.
Is there is a process that I've gotten the client, okay, here's the date that we're going to go get the case study and we're going to write it. And
Got it.
here's the steps that we have to make a case study that are done in the midst of this, right? It's
Mm.
collecting that data, it's getting a client testimonial, all of those things throughout the process. And if it's part of the process, you're not going to skip it. But if it's an afterthought, you will never make it a priority.
Yeah, it that makes a lot of sense to where it's just like this is how we do business as opposed to I need to find some time to work on this. It's like, no, you always work on it is what you're saying.
That's it. If we're not our own authority and we're not going to do that for ourselves, no one's going to know. We're going to be the best kept secret ever. But if we can capture the story and tell the story, it's going to resonate with so many more people and help you sell that next prospect. It's going to
Yeah.
help you land that next client because, say, someone has an objection and they say, no, no, I don't think you can get me the results. I don't think you can get me whatever the outcome it is that you're promising. But you have a case study. You can say, hey, look, he was in your exact situation. We did it for him. We can do it for you.
It's very, very smart marketing, really. I mean, that's compelling when you can come to people with numbers and outcomes, right? And it probably mitigates people's fear quite a bit, in wanting to move forward with somebody that they really have to trust.
And think about it, right? People come to you and you sell them an outcome. I don't want to sell them marketing. Nobody wants to buy marketing.
Mm,
Nobody wants
mm,
to buy your service. They want to buy the outcome from it.
mhm. Yeah. So here's the proof. Here's the proof that we're going to get to the outcome. That's very smart. Um, so do you have any lessons learned that you would want to convey to an early stage entrepreneur to based on your lessons learned of maybe when things went wrong for you?
I think as entrepreneurs, we want everything to be perfect before we go out. We want to make sure that we are doing the right things and that it's perfect. It's as great as it can be. But there is no such thing as perfection. And you were just waiting and waiting and waiting to launch. And you're killing time. You can't get that back. So if you have new messaging for your website, it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be good enough so you can collect the data and then iterate.
Mm,
Because never at any point in time will it be that you create a campaign or an email to go out or a LinkedIn, whatever, or any type of deliverable that's going to be 100% perfect. We iterate and then we keep rolling from that. And if we find that people aren't resonating with what's out there, change it.
mm. Seems simple when you say it like that.
Takes a big kick in the pants to do
Yeah,
that.
right, right. But I think that this is especially relevant to early stage, right? We don't need to have the conversation necessarily about imposter syndrome, right? But there is this whole kind of fear-driven thing that it feels safer when you're toiling on the plan and what you're going to do and striving for perfection, and it's not ready yet, because you can feel like you're making all this progress in a very safe space, as opposed to putting it out there in front of the world and actually testing it. And it shouldn't even be about fear of failure, right? It should be like, I'm putting this out there. I know I'm probably going to have to change it.
And it isn't just early stage. We've had clients at all stages that are stuck in that analysis paralysis, right?
Mhm.
And so this is the direction of the business that you want to take. You know that these are the right steps to do it. But what is stopping you from taking action? We had a client of ours wait 9 months to implement any of the things that we'd put forward. And
Wow.
in 9 months, the market changed again. So what do you do?
Hmm. Yeah, there's that wrinkle in the story too, right? Yeah, that's where hesitation can really punish you because 9 months later, if it had launched, then you would have had the opportunity to tweak it and optimize it and make it better where now it's like, "Oh, we have to rethink this because so much has changed."
Exactly. And then what do? Right? Because you've put all the time, effort, and energy and 9 months into creating something that is out there.
Mm,
Same as what I would do if you're even early stage or you're testing a new service to bring on is start writing the marketing messaging around that. How are you going to do outreach? How are you going to sell it? And test those messages before anything gets built to validate that there is an addressable market and
mm,
some product market fit.
that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah. You are an expert in your field for sure.
Well,
Uh,
thank you.
so I also wanted to ask you about something that you referenced earlier and your cancer journey, and glad that you're doing well now. But this is something that deeply affected you as you would expect. And I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about sort of the cancer warrior mindset, because you are, Rachel, truly a story of resilience with this and with the circumstance that you found yourself in with going full time on Rockstarr and Moon. You're somebody who has really been challenged to keep persevering in situations where other people may have not been as strong. So what are your takeaways from that journey in life, in your business? And then also, if you could share some insight with our audience about what you built in Beyond Basic Needs.
Absolutely. So I believe my life is a whirlwind, and I'm okay with that. I've fallen in love with that concept. Let me give you a little story about it. My husband and I met in Vegas. Our first
Okay.
date was in Germany,
Hmm.
right? Bit of a whirlwind. We then, in about a year or so later, we got married in Vegas. And at the same time, we were moving from Florida to Chicago in the midst of the polar vortex. It is crazy. And just as I think things are about to settle down, my appendix bursts while I was on a trip in New York.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know my appendix burst. I thought I was pregnant.
Really?
Google MD, I definitely have that degree, and it gave me the wrong diagnosis. Because you look and it's like, oh, I don't feel like eating. Food, the smell of things are really making me sick. Oh,
Oh.
my stomach no longer fits in my
Mm,
pants. I'm so bloated.
mm, mm.
And then stomach pain happened. And if you Google stomach pain and pregnancy, everyone's like, oh my God, it's the worst pain for 9 months. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do this for 9 months.
Oh, really?
Thinking, I mean, we had just gotten married. We're just trying, right? All of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things. I wait a week and a half of this exciting amount of pain. And I'm just kind of working through it. I go about my day and I go to the doctor finally the week and a half after, and they're like, no, ma'am, you're not pregnant. I was like, okay, what is it? They're like, well, how bad's the pain? I was like, well, I guess it isn't that bad, but they're like, okay, then don't go to the ER. We'll do some blood tests. We'll call you. And they said on Monday, we won't have any communication with you before Monday. Our lab's closed. Don't worry about it. Okay. So Sunday morning at 7 a.m., I get a phone call from the lab saying they've never seen a white blood cell count so high. Get to the hospital now. Oh,
Wow.
okay. So turns out my appendix burst, but because I'd waited so long, I had to be in the hospital, no food, no drink, no nothing for 3 days while they were just pumping me full of antibiotics and things and just anything to get the infection down. 6 weeks later, I have surgery to remove my appendix, not thinking anything of it, right? It's just typical surgery. And then I go in for my follow up and they say, ma'am, you have cancer. Like,
Jeez.
No, I don't have cancer. I'm on candid camera. I just quit my job yesterday, and this isn't funny. So you can bring in the camera guys and like, let's have it out. And they're like, I'll just let you sit here with this. And I was like, okay. So we talked next steps and treatment plans, and now I'm texting my family what's happening, and my phone dies.
Oh my
I am
gosh.
I am that girl. So now in Chicago traffic, I'm trying to get home, no phone, guessing on navigation. And it's like, it takes me, instead of the 45 minutes that it could when there's no traffic, it's Friday afternoon coming back. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours. My husband's freaking out. My parents are freaking out. Like,
I'm
no one can find
sure.
me. Phone's off. So that's just the whirlwind of it, right? And so
Yeah.
now you put the pieces in place. I have to have surgery. I might need treatments. I might need all these things. What do you do and how do you do it? And one of the things that I noticed during this is that my phone went from ringing and being text all the time to, once I started telling people I had cancer, there was silence.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
hard. Unless you had been touched by somebody who had cancer before or had that as part of your life, you don't know how to respond. And you think that the appropriate thing is to give somebody space so that they can, deal with it, that they don't want to hear your little problems. Totally, completely, utterly untrue. I want you to tell me how terrible the housewives were. I want you to tell me the gossip on the street from like
Hmm.
whatever MTV shows we could watch. I don't care if it's Jersey Shore. Whatever terrible things that we would watch are, tell me about
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still here.
it. That's it. And I love hearing, nonsense. So give me dad jokes, give me
Hmm.
emojis, give me something.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it went silent. And so we created after all of, I just had surgeries. I was very fortunate. My body encapsulated it and saved my life. And we created a nonprofit called Beyond Basic Needs because we want to make sure that everyone has an actual step that they can do for anybody that they love, and just show a little bit of care and just send them a chemo care kit as they're going through treatment. And that's what we created. And in this world of creating a nonprofit, I realized that there was so much talk about survivor and survivorship. And I have so many friends who didn't. And it felt discriminatory. It's not on purpose. It just feels like they should be included in this. Their journey was just as hard as mine, if not a heck of a lot harder. They had to go through this. Their family had to go through this. They are warriors. The minute you get that cancer diagnosis, you are a warrior. Whatever that journey is and how you take it, you have moved up to the next level. You are a Greek god. And that's how we act. That's how we go through this because it's the only way that we can handle something that is life or death.
Yeah, that perspective, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, but it takes somebody probably who has had that experience to even come to that realization, right? But yeah, and what you're doing there, obviously touching people's lives in a way that is creating connection really with beyond basic needs, right? It is kind of fighting the isolation that you were talking about.
Yep. The biggest goal for us is just making sure that there is support, there is a way, and we write a lot of blogs about things that you can say, things you can do to someone after their diagnosis, because we would never want to not provide those types of resources. We know that the numbers of cancer diagnoses are not going down, and it sucks. So what do we do, and how do we make sure that everyone that we're talking to, that we're touching, can make an impact in someone's life?
Well, thank you for doing that work. It's very important. And obviously, most of us have been impacted in one way or another. The people in our family, friends that have been on that journey. And obviously, as you said, many people have been on it themselves. So thank you very much. That is very important work. And I mean, there's not much empty time on your schedule, I don't think, with everything that you're doing.
Well, that's the problem of the entrepreneur,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Well, congratulations on all of this. It's really, really impressive, and I am so glad that you spent time with us sharing all these stories and business lessons. I wanted to ask you, wrapping up, when you have free time and you can
Mm.
do whatever you want just for fun, I know live music is a part of this. And you could say that, but is anything else that if you have a open Saturday, you're just going to enjoy yourself, that would be like, this is my go-to?
Well, it's normally the go-to would always be something with live music that's
Hmm.
outside. We live in Florida, so we can be outside almost all the time. And it is a phenomenal thing. But if I have to choose something else, I would say I love probably more than anything is when we go rent a boat and we just troll on down the river. And it's it's lovely because we live on the St. Johns River. So it's calm, it's peaceful, it is always an adventure. We can end up at the springs, we can end up,
Yeah,
just at any of the bars that are on the way. And it creates this moment of freedom where you feel like anything's possible.
that is great. You're fully taking advantage of where you're living, and it's a great opportunity. And I guess the best day would be like if you were floating down the St. John's River to the Jane's Addiction concert.
I mean, we have the reason we moved to this small little 700 person town is because the
Oh,
river is lined with bars
there
with
you
live
go.
music, and they all have live music, so
All
there's
right.
nothing better to me.
Okay. So there's not even a trade-off involved. Oh, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so could you tell us how people can reach out to you, Rachel, if they want to follow you, learn more about Rockstar and Moon, learn more about Beyond Basic Needs? How should people go about that? Because you've given us a lot of great thoughts here, and I'm sure there are people that want to learn more about possibly doing business with you too.
Well, visit rachelminion.com or connect with me on LinkedIn. And from there, I can get you all of the links. So you can go to my LinkedIn account. We can connect there. You can go to Rockstar Moon. You can go to Beyond Basic Needs. And we can also get you the right resources. So if you're going through cancer, we can get you straight to a chemo care kit. If you're excited about this entrepreneurial journey and ready to start growing, give us a shout at Rockstar and Moon.
Excellent. Well, this has been a great conversation. I really, really enjoyed it. I have no doubts that you'll continue to be successful. And after having spoken with you, I know why you've been successful. It's you. It is you. 100%. So, congratulations on everything that you've done, and best of luck for continued success going forward.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful.